computer. And we're recording. Perfect. What's going on, everybody? Jaeden here from Dude, I Watched That with another interview for our YouTube channel and website. Today, I am joined by none other than the famous actor slash artist. I'm sure many of you recognize him already from one of my favorite shows of all time, if not my favorite show of all time, Mr. Jacob Rolfe, or as many of you know him as Jacob Collins. Jacob, thank you so much for being here today. It's really a pleasure.
Hey, my pleasure, Jaeden. Thanks for the kind intro. What's up, everybody?
All righty. Like I said, huge fan myself. So right now I'm fanboying a little bit, if I'm being quite honest. I have many questions that I want to ask you. I reached out to a lot of the Trailer Park Boys fan groups on Facebook to kind of see what they wanted to ask you, and we got tons of answers. So let's just get right into it.
All right, let's do it.
All right. So my first question for you is, so in the beginning of season 1 and kind of throughout the beginning of the Trailer Park Boys show, you had many different jobs. So you had many different small little roles. You know, you were in the convenience store, you worked at the gas station, even in the movie, you were the movie theater guy. You were like the manager there. So I'm just curious kind of how all those roles kind of evolved into the Jacob Collins that we know and we love, the BAAAAAAAM guy today.
Yeah, it was all in the hands of the writers. I mean, back in the early days, like when Mike Clattenburg was looking for people to fill roles, you know, he came across me, and so I was just like, again, just sort of doing this recurring role where I would be working some job. The boys would come in, hassle me, or otherwise abuse me, and I would end up getting fired. And so I don't know if that was like a plan right from the very start. I mean, I guess from the very start, I don't know how many seasons they thought that the show would go. Yeah, it all began with just getting one scene in the first season, and then, you know, slowly it just kept on rolling and rolling. And then when my role expanded in season 7, that was mainly was because Corey and Trevor had left the show, and they were looking for somebody to be jail cover for the boys, to sort of fill that role of like taking the abuse and all the insults and just being jail cover basically. And so I was nominated, I guess, and got a promotion.
Well, that's awesome. I mean, it helped you become one of the greatest characters on the show. One of my favorite. I think the whole Collins clan, kind of Thomas, Phil, you. It's a great character arc that I've always really liked, especially in season 7. I think season 7 is my personal favorite of the series as a whole. And I think what they did with your character was just something really cool, and something that I really liked. But
it was great with like with Phil Collins there, the father of the Collins clan. It was he was such a driving force that it was super fun, and that was a great season from my perspective as well.
Yeah, that kind of brings me into my next question, actually. So unfortunately, as we know, Richard Collins, who played Phil Collins, passed away a few years ago, and he's always been a great character to me. Again, like I said, love the whole Collins clan, and I just want to know what was it like working with him? He seemed like a very, very great guy. Just he even in the show, he gives off this really great vibe and energy, and I've always been curious as to how it was working with him.
It was great. I mean, he was such a super friendly dude, and the character of Richard Collins was, of course, different from Phil Collins in the show, but there was quite a bit of overlap as well. Like, his, I mean, I kind of like myself, the acting persona wasn't super different from the sort of everyday persona per se. Like, he was sort of this lumbering kind of guy who would sort of like sometimes get confused about things. But he was like always super friendly. We had our trailers beside each other often, just because we were in so many scenes together, and we just sit and chat. He'd tell me about his guitars and about this and that. But yeah, he just loved, he was just a super upbeat dude, a big, weird, upbeat dude.
Yep. It's funny that you bring up the whole guitar aspect too, because there's one kind of, I guess, meme that floats around the internet a lot, and it's a picture of him kind of standing there in almost this like Gene Simmons pose,
Is he like
holding an
rocking
electric
out?
guitar. Yeah, and he's rocking
Yeah.
it out. Yep. And that's
Yeah.
just me and my other Trailer Park Boys friends, we sent that around all the time, and that
I
just
mean, if you
it's
didn't
really
tell
cool that
me
you
about
brought
his
that up.
guitars, if you didn't tell me about them, I wouldn't have I would have thought that was from some kind of like some TV sketch or some kind of Photoshop job or something. But yeah, I'd love to actually see some some video of him rocking out. That'd be something.
Yeah, it would be really cool. And I guess something else that I kind of wanted to ask is just because earlier you mentioned that a lot about season one and how you didn't really know what was going to be going forward, and neither did Clattenburg, kind of how the show would do. Did anybody really expect it to be as influential as it is today?
I mean, I don't think that it would be possible to have foreseen that. Like back in it was it the year 2000, like right thereabouts when the first season came out. Like there weren't many or hardly any mockumentary style programs back in those days. Like Trailer Park Boys was one of the first ones, and so it just made it seem so extra raw and weird, like all the camera motion, like really rough, sort of rough
Yep.
camera work in that mockumentary style. But I remember when I first saw the first season, I was just like, what the heck is this? Like, this is like, it's funny or there's good aspects to it, but it's going nowhere. It's just, it was so different from my, sort of trained kind of like Hollywood tastes that it certainly didn't occur to me that it was going to be a smash, success, and I'd be still doing stuff like 20 years later.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's really cool to see how much the show has grown in almost the past 20 years. Yeah, 20 years now. And when it kind of first came out, I was too young for it. I was born in 2001, so that's when the show
Definitely
started.
Too young.
Yeah, definitely too young. But to all my family in Nova Scotia, all the people that were kind of around the teenager, pre-adult age, they ate it up, and it was like the coolest thing for them. And to this day, they still love it. And for me, it was like this forbidden fruit for me, because my parents, even though they knew how much everybody loved it, they knew how influential it was in terms of the way that people talked because of it, the way that people acted. It was so big that when I finally got to watch it, I was around 13, I'd say, and it was game changing. And it's so crazy for me to see that something that was so small and relevant to something just like my Nova Scotian family has now grown into almost my entire friend group, people I meet on the street or in like out on the streets, and people online too. Even it's amassed into this such grand thing, and I think it's so cool and super fascinating that something Canadian at that too has managed to evolve into something that's almost become so worldwide at this point. I mean, they even have shows in like Dublin, a lot of fans in the United Kingdom. It's really cool, and that's a really interesting take you had, which kind of brings me to my next point of, since the show has amassed in such popularity, do you get recognized in public a lot?
It certainly happens. Like since COVID and masks now, I guess I'm going out a lot less into like public, and then also with a mask on, it's less easy to recognize people. Although I'm still recognized sometimes, even with my mask on, by I guess people who really know what my eyes look like. But yeah, I mean, it kind of comes in like waves. But yeah, like these days, like since last spring till now, it's only been a few times.
Yeah.
So it's I'm just an anonymous person again. But like it's never been like too like so frequent that it's sort of overwhelming, except in the rare circumstances when I was on the Trailer Park Boys cruise, for example, which you'd expect there to be a very high rate of folks recognizing me. But if I'm just out and about, I also here I live in the country, so it's not like living in a city where it's a very different thing. It definitely happens more when I'm hanging out in the cities. Maybe someday I'll hang out in cities again. Hope so.
Hey, I mean, Toronto's always open with open hands. I mean, even though our COVID numbers are through the roof right now.
That's what
Uh,
I mean. Yeah, like I'm not. I'm sort of avoiding the bigger cities
yeah,
for now.
yeah, totally.
Yep.
Good call. Good call. I don't blame you. And I guess kind of because of COVID, that has kind of left sort of the in-person interactions thing out of the whole sphere of things. I noticed that a lot online now, people are reaching out to you in DMs, kind of with little jokes and comments like "smokes, let's go" or "give me a bam." How is that? Do you enjoy that? Do you like the communication and love that you're getting?
Yeah, totally. I mean, it's nice, it's nice to be appreciated, certainly. And I'm also more than happy to give, to like reply and give folks a bam or a couple of smokes and help bring a little bit of light into their day or whatever. Especially these days. Although I get so many requests now, I'm like, I don't think I'll ever get caught up. Um, so yeah, the rate of requests is increasing, and I do maybe 20 a day, like replies to folks, giving them bans or answering random questions.
Yeah,
And yeah,
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 for sure.
it's nice. I mean, some folks are kind of like special cases or hard cases, and I'll have to sort of ignore them if they're super persistent
Yeah,
and a
yeah.
bit like off the wall. But like 99% of folks are like totally like cool and aren't trying to yank my chain too hard at least.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. It's always good to have that kind of fan person dynamic, and it's good that it
Yeah.
never really crosses that line of like stan type. That's cool. Um, I guess something else is just like you've kind of evolved your field into this art thing, and I see a lot of it behind you. I've seen a lot of it online, and it's all really cool. Do you wanna kind of take the floor and give us a little rundown of what you're doing?
Sure. Yeah. My in my day job, which is like 350 days of the year that I'm not working with Trailer Park Boys, I'm an illustrator and a screen printer. And so
Nice.
yeah, here's what I was just working on today. Yeah,
Oh wow, that's
I was sort
really
of imagining
beware.
like what superheroes Jacob and Corey would make up for themselves. And so BT Dude and Africat was what my brain popped out. But
That's
are you
awesome.
are you familiar with screen printing as a printmaking technique?
Yeah, yeah, a little bit. I'm a media student too, so I do get to kind of see that kind of stuff in action here and there. But yeah,
Uh, but yeah, so these are all screen prints. Just I'll grab a screen real quick to show the viewers in case folks aren't familiar. I don't know how well this is going to turn out. So with like a screen print, it's sort of like a fancy stencil. So for every color you have on the paper, you have a different stencil that has different parts of it blocked out and parts are open. And so when you're making the prints, you squish ink across the screen with a rubber squeegee, and it squishes a thin layer through the screen onto the paper. And
nice.
so like for this print, the one I was showing you, like the bottom layer is actually blue and purple ink. Which I put both colors on the screen and then kind of mix them together and like move them back and forth, so they kind of create this gradient. And then the top layer was black, so it's a two-screen print. But like I've been doing this stuff for, I guess, off and on since 2007. I was living in St. John's, Newfoundland, and set up a little studio in my basement when I was there and learned how to screen print. And I've been, doing it to various degrees since then. And it's pretty full time these days. Um, and so I do like just my own random kind of like trippy illustrations. And then I've been doing Trailer Park Boys stuff for the past like year and a bit as well. And
Yeah, I've seen a lot of that online. Especially, I really like the Dirty Burger design that you did. That was really cool.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I've got a couple different. I've got a website now called the Dirty Burger Print Shop, and so I've done a couple different Dirty Burger themed like burger themed prints. Some starring Phil Collins, some just like different versions of burgers. But Yeah, it's good. Like I remember it must have been like 10, 15 years ago. I ran into Mike Clattenburg in the street in Toronto, and he was like, "Dude, you got to do Trailer Park Boys art. What are you doing?" I was like, "Oh yeah, like I thought about it, but doodle do." I'm a real slow moving kind of dude, and so it took me like a decade to finally do it, and yeah, it's been super well received. It's like obviously a good like there's so many fans out there, and a bunch of them like art, and so it's been
Yeah,
it's been going good.
that's really cool. That's really cool. And it's also very cool that around that time was also when we were getting the animated series with Trailer Park Boys, and kind of taking that whole kind of thing into a whole new kind of a whole new
Yeah,
level
yeah,
almost. And so
yeah. It's like
how was it?
it dovetailed well,
Yeah,
like Trailer Park Boys drawings.
yeah, exactly. And how was that? How was it to see kind of yourself and all your people that you've been working with for so long kind of put into this new dimension almost of cartoon characters? I'm sure it's one of the coolest things ever.
It's super trippy. Yeah, it's like I think when I was younger, I had a fantasy of being I mean, it wasn't something I thought about much, but like being a cartoon character. Like I think watching Scooby Doo, I used to like sort of I think that I looked like Shaggy and thought like sort of identified somehow, or thought it'd be cool if I was Shaggy on Scooby Doo. Although he's always getting like scared out of his wits, wouldn't be that great in existence. But yeah, it was nuts. Like I exist as a cartoon character now.
And the
Yeah,
stuff
it's
they made your character go through too was just
yeah,
hilarious.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's even more fucked up than the you know like they're limited by actual physical reality. They can they
yeah.
can do
They
anything in
could,
the cartoon.
and that's kind of what they did, and it was really cool to
Yeah,
see like your arms breaking off and your neck getting all messed up. That was cool.
yeah.
I was
You
a
think
big
that's a
fan of the
broken
animated
neck?
stuff.
Yeah, yeah, it was great. I have to. I've been meaning to watch the whole like series again from season one, right through season 13, and then well, the animated ones aren't so old, but or season 12, I guess, and also now season 13, which is just coming out, or the JL series. I haven't seen any of those yet, but
Yeah.
I actually can't sign into SwearNet. I'm having problems with the freaking website. Fucking
Yeah,
hell.
I see that a lot of people are having trouble, but
Jesus
luckily
Christ.
I've managed to get in. I've been staying up to date with the whole SwearNet thing, watching TPB jail ever since it started. I think it's really cool. It's a new expansion kind of into the universe. You guys got Terry from Boobar in there now too, which is wicked. And
Yeah.
it's really cool to see how something like Trailer Park Boys, again, something so small scale in the beginning, has evolved into something so big that it's almost like its own media conglomerate now. Which brings me to my next question. Since there's so much stuff going on SwearNet, you got the Puppetry Fucketry Improv Hour and a bunch of other skits and podcasts and mini series. Do you think we could ever get like a Jacob and Corey Power Hour, or a little Jacob sideshow, something like that in the future?
Yeah, I would imagine something like that could be possible. I'm just, waiting on the call from SwearNet HQ.
Yeah, that would be cool. It would be interesting.
Like I've been slowly starting to like fuck around with video a little bit, and like recording some just stuff at home here. And so I'm sort of like the quality is poor, and like my equipment's poor, so it's poor on multiple levels. But who knows? Yeah, maybe I'll if my stuff is fucked up in just the right way, maybe they'll put it up on their website.
Yeah, that would be cool, and I'm sure a lot of people would be very interested in seeing
Yeah.
that.
It'd be cool to get
Um,
like if they had like they've got a full studio with like resources and like proper cameras and lighting and stuff. So
yeah.
like the boys are super busy. I'm sure they've thought about it. One complication is Corey's in Toronto these days, and
Oh wow.
it's hard to travel out here to Nova Scotia just on a whim because you got to do 2 weeks of quarantine. So it's hard just to come out
Yeah.
to shoot something for a few days because you got to do this like yes, all this extra time is tacked on. But we'll see. I know the boys got big plans for SwearNet now,
Yeah.
and they want to like add more content. So yeah, we'll see. Fingers crossed.
it's very exciting to see what they're going to do, and I'm very excited to see as well. Was TPB jail shot during the pandemic or before the pandemic?
It was shot last like no or November, like a year and 3 months ago or whatever. So like
Oh wow,
November 2019,
nice, nice.
pre-pandemic.
Yeah, that's good. You got it out of the
Yeah,
way right before shit hit the fan,
yeah,
basically.
yeah.
That's good.
And then like there is a film industry here shooting stuff still these days. And so last I heard, the boys were planning to shoot another jail season sometime this, winter slash spring. So yeah, more coming down the pipe.
Nice, nice. That's great to hear. That's good to hear that it's not the end of it yet. That's great. And so I think what I'm gonna do now is I'm just gonna pull up a few of the Facebook questions that a lot of
Oh
people
yeah,
had
sure.
that had asked for you. I put out the request for people, and we got a lot of answers back. Some of them, in the context of Trailer Park Boys, very greasy comments, but we'll skip
All
over
right.
those.
Yeah, I'll let you
So
I'll let you edit the content.
yeah, let's
It,
see.
it's cool if I roll a
So
little joint here
oh yeah, man, go
while I answer
ahead, do your
questions.
thing. Yeah, sure.
So where
Let's
are you? Are
see.
you in your kitchen there? Is that a fridge in the
I
background?
I am in my sister's room because my room is a complete mess. So I just came in here, kind of took everything girly out of the way and threw it in the corner just so I could have a clean recording space. But that's her dresser. Yeah.
Dude, my place is such a mess too, but I just have a little corner here that's like less crazy. Here,
Yeah.
I'll show you my studio.
Oh wow. That's cool though. You're putting in the work. That's great. Let's see. All right. So the first question, I'm sure a lot of people have this on their mind too when they're thinking of Nova Scotia, is donairs. So the first question I have is, where is the best place to get the donair? Is it the King or is it somewhere else?
You know, I don't have donaires very often, and I had my first one in like probably 10 years just last week. And I went to KOD
Wow.
and I I went to KOD in Dartmouth. Oh no, not 10 years, but maybe the second one in 10 years. So, infrequent is the point. And yeah, I went to KOD in Dartmouth. I was in the city doing some errands, and I treated myself to a donair, and it was friggin' awesome. And so it was top notch. And so I say it's very very likely that like KOD may have the best donairs around. I know a lot of people will make that claim. Like some places in the past, the donair meat would often be kind of a bit dry and like, yeah, like it. I don't know if that's just because it was on the spit for too long, or if that's like in the way they've like made the meatloaf
Yeah.
like thing. But also like the one I got at KOD was served like they gave me a fork with it when they were giving it to me. I thought, oh, that's kind of odd. But then when I got it, like it wasn't. In the past when I got them, they were more like wraps, like a
Yeah.
submarine wrap,
They're
and
almost
like kind
just
of like.
like holding it now, right?
But this one, yeah, this was just like it was like a half, like it was just sort of folded in half, and the bread was like a different kind of bread, more maybe Middle Eastern flatbread style than pita style. Maybe that's also a flatbread, but yeah. So long story, I guess to summarize, I don't really know, but KOD is friggin' awesome.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like next time
I've had it.
I'll go
I've
back there like next time I want a donair for sure.
Yeah. I've managed to get it a few times when I was in Halifax a few years ago. But if you ever happen to be in Westville or Stellarton or anything, I recommend Acropole. Acropole is a great donair place if you're ever
Okay.
exploring that area. But that's good to know. I'm sure a lot of people that are coming into Nova Scotia that also have like this Trailer Park Boys side to them would like to know. I guess they have their question answered now.
Like
The next question.
I have one important tip to add is
Okay.
like when I was younger, I would always make the mistake of ordering like too big of a donair, like getting a large just because it seemed like it's only a couple bucks more.
Yep.
Why not? More bang for your buck. But like a large donair is like the size of a friggin' like maybe not full football. That's probably extra large, but you don't want to go too big. You always regret it. And so I got a medium from King of Donair, and it was perfect. I ate the whole
Yep.
thing sort of like with an hour gap in between, and no regrets.
Yeah, I've made that mistake many of times too in my life.
Oh.
It's I mean, I can't complain. For me personally, it's always good to have a little extra, but that is true for the non-trained Donair consumers, I guess.
Because you tend to get them when you're drunk and wasted too, so that adds to like just the gung ho, not using your proper common sense and just like
Yeah.
eating far too much Donair.
Not fun. The next question somebody asked was, what was cooler, Thomas's Camaro or Julian's Monte Carlo?
Well, I mean, I hate to speak against family, but like nothing's cooler than Julian's Monte Carlo to me. That thing rocks. I think I first like bonded onto Julian over that car.
Yes, that was a great scene. That's one of the most memorable scenes. I love that scene. That's good. I'm good to know. Let's see. A lot of people are asking for smokes, asking for BAAAAMs. A lot of alien questions, a lot of Twiggy alien questions. Somebody asked about the Etsy shop. Do you have a Etsy shop for any of your art products?
I do. I've started my own dedicated web page as well. So I still have the Etsy shop, but I'm slowly sort of moving things over. But there's a lot of stuff on both platforms. But yeah, most things are over on my main website, which is the Dirty Burger Print Shop. But you can just go to baam.ca as a short way to get there. BAAAAAM.ca.
Perfect. A little good.
And so it's better than Etsy because Etsy charges more fees, and so I'm trying to like sort of get away from getting nickel and dimed. But you get nickel and dimed everywhere, so really, there's no difference.
Totally. Somebody else asks if you remember, and the answer is probably yes, but do you remember every single job you've had in the show, and could you name all of them off by heart?
Gosh, not off the top of my head. Like even like if I sat down and thought about it without watching, I'd probably say I know. But the first year was a convenience store. See, I am already. Was second year that's the gas station, or was that third? Like, yeah, because I was in seasons 1 to 5, I think. So that would be 5 jobs at least. And all I can remember is the convenience store, the gas station, and a hardware store where they came in and like stole some stuff from me.
Yep.
Oh no, then also the grocery store where I was like the parcel pickup manager.
Oh,
so
yeah.
4.
Yeah.
So yeah. Maybe, who knows? Maybe if I sat down and thought about it, I'd be able to. But it's a lot of
movie
jobs.
theater guy too. In the
movie theater guy.
Movie.
That's yep. That's right.
Cool.
That's right.
Cool. It's probably really cool to be able to have had all of those, and then at the same time have your own character eventually too.
Yeah. I've lost more jobs on Trailer Park Boys than most people have had in their whole lives.
Yeah. Poor Jacob. Poor Jacob. Somebody, actually, a lot of people have asked this, and it's a question that I'm sure very important, especially now. Dunsworth, Mr. Leahy, working with him. Anything you can say about that? He was a really great character to a lot of people, including myself, and I think everybody's just really curious, especially now after his unfortunate passing, just to hear more about the really great soul that he was.
He was awesome. I loved it when I was like either in scenes with him or if he was around, because he would always I can ask him like tips like on how to perform certain scenes a bit more realistically, and he'd often be more than happy to help. Like on set, usually I just sort of be plopped there, and I'll get sort of very little direction. I mean, I get direction sometimes, but like as a non-trained actor, I wouldn't get as much as I would like to have sometimes, I guess. And it was nice if Leahy was around, he wouldn't hesitate to like give advice about sort of subtle reactions, sort of like ways to make things, play well on camera, stuff that I got zero idea about. And yeah, he'd be forthcoming with that advice, and he was able to, teach it and like transmit it in a really, friendly and, great way. So yeah,
Nice, nice.
it was fun working with him.
Yeah, that's I figured, but that's great. That's great to hear. It's really nice hearing a lot of the on-set stories about him, just as like a person in general, outside of the role that everybody knows him as. And it's that kind of relationship dynamic that everybody had with him on set is always great to hear about.
Like he was almost always in a good mood, almost like you would think somebody who was like, just mildly drunk might be, or something like that, sort of jolly and like, friendly and gregarious. But yeah, he was a teetotaler, the word was, which was, hard to believe. Yeah, just like a naturally like happy dude.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's always great to hear, like, outside of the character, the kind of person that somebody is. And I'm sure anyone couldn't be more happy to hear that he was that kind of person.
Yeah, very different, obviously, the character from the actor. Like,
yeah,
he's like, well, I guess like so many people on the show, but like true actors who can have such a different persona when they're not acting and when they're acting. Like that's sort of actual acting, like
yeah,
one perspective at least, which is not so much in my wheelhouse. But luckily they write my part, sort of within my acting range more or less, and it's worked out.
Yeah,
worked out well enough at least. Yep.
Can't complain. And then another one that we got asked many times, and it's always, I'm sure a lot of people, even people that I've talked to, have kind of always asked this question, and it's kind of a weird question if I'm being honest, but I think a lot of people just really want to know your answer to this. So season 8, season 9, I believe, that's when the whole relationship with Trinity began. You guys had Motel, and that story arc continues to grow. Somebody or a few people asked, was it weird watching Trin kind of grow up in the show to eventually end up dating / like shacking up with her? It's a big question that a lot of people had, and I'm just kind of curious to hear that answer too.
Yeah, definitely. Like when season 8 came along, I guess in earlier seasons, like my character didn't really overlap with Trinity very much. I mean, from watching the show, really. I was aware she was like on the show from watching it, of course, but like it's freaky seeing any of the early seasons now, and she's just like a tiny child. It's definitely trippy. It's like, huh, that's her? Oh my God, yeah, that's Gina. Holy crap. But yeah, I mean, I guess it's just, shit happens in Trailer Park Boys, and sometimes you get, older guys hooking up with
the trailer park life.
Yeah, part of the trailer park life. But yeah, it's definitely a pretty big age difference.
Yeah.
And it is like it's a bit awkward at times, like on set if we're doing like a makeout scene or that kind of thing. It's a bit like sometimes it takes an extra second to sort of wrap your head around. But we're all professionals.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's all acting, and that's good. I'm glad I was so nervous to ask that question for some reason, just because it feels like such a weird thing to ask, but so many people were so curious to find out.
Yeah, folks are curious. Some people are just like, what the fuck, Jacob? Fuck you. Like, Trinity was just a girl when you were an adult. What the fuck? That's okay. But yeah, I'm just the show. And and like, cool. Welcome to planet Earth.
Yeah, welcome to reality. That's
we seem to have a pretty decent relationship, despite the age gap. I think we're getting along okay.
Yeah, that's all that matters. That's good. A lot of other questions. Like I said, a lot of alien questions. A lot of smokes. Let's goes. But I think the biggest one, and don't feel obliged to do this, but a lot of people are asking if they can get a BAAAAAAM.
Oh yeah. I haven't given a BAAAAAAM in a while. I'm not sure how well my throat's going to hold out. But here. Bam! Dude, I watched
Peanut
that.
butter
What's
and
up?
jam. That's so great. Perfect. That was perfect. That made my day. That was awesome. Jacob, I thank you so much for your time on here today. It was really great talking to you. I feel like we got a lot of questions through. I learned a lot more about you, and I'm sure the people watching, whenever this goes up, hopefully tomorrow, will get to learn a lot more about you too. Thank you for coming. Any closing remarks? Anything that you want to say?
No, awesome. Thanks for the good times. It was a good interview,
Perfect.
and yeah, I had fun. I'll check out your webpage. I'll get the info from you
Yeah, for
afterwards.
sure.
But I'll find out the best
Any
place to watch
social
stuff.
any socials
Oh,
you want to kind of put out there?
sure. I mean, yeah, check out my website. BAAAAAAM.ca as mentioned, BAAAAAM.ca, and then I'm on Instagram, Jacob Collins TPB, or floating.world.studio is a more art centered Instagram account. Whew.
Perfect.
Barely got that out.
Perfect. Sounds
But
good.
yeah,
Again,
check it out.
for sure. I'm sure a lot of people watching will do. And again, thank you so much for being